What were some of the most important events that you saw or experienced from when you were a child to an early adult?
Okay, I was 18 years old when Our Lady of the Angels school fire took place. I had just come home from work. The whole neighborhood was like crazy. You smelled smoke everywhere. People were running around like crazy, and you were saying, "What went on? What's going on? What's going on?" And they said, "The school's on fire. Our Lady of the Angels school is on fire." And that fire, there three nuns and I believe 97 children were killed in that fire. Some just died of asphyxiation by the window. They couldn't breathe. They were waiting to get out or someone to come and get them. Some jumped out of the window. Some of the nuns were laying on the floor on the inside too, trying to save some of these children. It was horrible, horrible, horrible. No sprinkling system in the school at that time. And that's when a whole bunch of different laws changed as far as schools and the safety of children are concerned. And they believe that the school fire was started probably by accident by some children at school in one of the stairwells. They didn't know if they were smoking or whatever they were doing. I don't think that ever came to pass, but it was definitely not an electrical fire or anything like that. It was a fire that was started by the kids somehow. And this was just about at the end of the school day. The kids were almost getting ready to be dismissed when this occurred. And as a result, the entire neighborhood changed. It was mostly a Polish, Irish, Italian neighborhood. And at that point, the people were so devastated, they put their houses up for sale and left. They just couldn't bear the pain of going back to that church and having any of that remind them of their children dying in that fire.
What is another event that significantly impacted you? Berlin Wall. Berlin Wall.
Oh, the Berlin Wall. Now, this is several years later. We were on a trip to Germany, and we specifically went there because we heard that the Berlin Wall was coming down, and we just thought that this is going to be an event in history. It'll be written in history books for forever and ever and ever because it's such a significant event. And while we were there, we were going through Checkpoint Charlie and all, walking through all the areas. It was getting dusk at night as we were going, and the wall was coming down. They were actually chopping the wall down, but you couldn't pass over it. So your grandfather, Carmen, actually asked the German guard on the other side of the wall, where we were still not allowed to go, if he could have a piece of that wall, and he actually handed him a chunk of the wall, through that fence. And as a result of that, when we came home, your grandfather had it mounted and he had it hung on a wall until his passing.
And then the last one you talked about was the JFK assassination. How did that affect you?
JFK assassination also. I was an at-home mom. I had my children at home with me, and I somehow had I was an at-home mom, but I had a little part-time job, and I was in a restaurant, and we heard from someone, they said, "The president has been shot. The president has been shot." The whole restaurant just, there was a sound in there like a moan from everybody. They couldn't believe it. Are you kidding? JFK has been shot? Well, that's where I was when it happened, but actually the whole story then, how he was shot, and they showed everything. They showed him in the car. They showed the blood all over his wife's lap. They didn't show the hole in the back of his head, but they talked about it and talked about it and talked about it on TV and in the newspapers forever. A big, big thing. And then they swore in Johnson as the new president right there, and Jackie Kennedy was right there with them. and they were kind of nice to her there, but they said, move out of the White House, you're out of here now. And she left with her children. But you could see her boy, John Jr., at his father's funeral. And one of the lasting memories of that is when the little boy is at the funeral and he is saluting his father's coffin as it goes by. I think that impacted most people.
Has any of these events still affect you? Do any of these events still affect you today?
They don't affect me, but as they're a reminder. They're always a reminder, as just like now when you're asking me these questions, it reminds you of those events that happened in the past. And they're not pleasant memories. They're not pleasant memories, but people know about them all over. Maybe your generation doesn't know some of these things unless you're studying them now in school and going through that, which I think is good, because I think it's very significant that young people know about this stuff. And what is going to happen in your generation is going to be, if I live long enough to see it or hear it, it'll be very interesting, because now we're thinking of North Korea with these nuclear bombs. Are we going to bomb? What's going to happen? We did already drop 2 bombs and they bombed back, but not the United States. So I don't know what's going to happen. We have a new president now. Donald Trump is our president. I think he's trying to do the best he can do. He's trying to pick up the pieces from the last one, and we're just trying to move forward, and hopefully we can get there in a peaceful manner.
Out of all the events that you talked about, which one was the most significant to you?
Well, I think things that happen here in the United States are a little more significant to me than the things that happen in Europe, like the Berlin Wall coming down. I think, like when children were killed in a school, when our president was assassinated. These are horrific things that happen by, the president being shot by some psychopath. It could happen. It happened to Lincoln. Lincoln was shot. Reagan was shot. Where do these people come from? How do they get so crazed that they can just pick up a gun? I think we need to do something with gun control. I don't think everybody should be without one, because we got to be able to defend ourselves, but there's got to be some control out there.
So would you say that the JFK assassination was the most significant to you?
Yeah, I would say so. From a historic point of view, and something that everybody will always know about. Whereas the school fire was a Chicago event, so maybe that's why many people don't know about that, especially in your age group.
Thank you.